Several shots fired, killing a pregnant woman, her unborn child, and her husband. He was just identified as 31-year-old Trey Carter. Police say they have that shooter behind bars. Kelly Kennedy, first to alert us from the scene earlier this evening. She's live tonight with the tragic new developments. Kelly, a heartbreaking story indeed.
That was unthinkable. How could somebody do this to their own family? This man literally walked down on his sister and about to be brother-in-law and executed them, and also killed the unborn child and hit an innocent 13-year-old. But this is just some of the things that happens in Maple Heights. Even though this is a suburban area, even though this is a suburb outside of Cleveland, it still goes down. Let's get into it. But before we get into it, make sure y'all like and subscribe. Hit that like and that share. This is Drillers and Trappers 24/7. Let's get it. Let's start with the history of Cleveland. So, the written history of Cleveland began with the city's founding by General Moses Cleveland of the Connecticut Land Company on July 22nd, 1796. Its central location on the southern shore of Lake Erie and the mouth of the Cuyahoga River allowed it to become a major center for Great Lakes trade in northern Ohio in the early 19th century. Throughout the years, Cleveland would become one of the staples in the automotive industry movement during the 70s, 80s, and the mid-90s. Maple Heights is a surrounding suburb of Cleveland. The development of present-day Maple Heights began around 1849 with the opening of the Cleveland and Pittsburgh Railroad. The Conotton Valley Railroad was opened in 1881. Maple Heights was initially incorporated in July 1915 as a village. Later, on the 1st of January 1932, Maple Heights was reincorporated as a city. Now, Maple Heights is, like I said, a surrounding suburban area of Cleveland. The city belongs to Cuyahoga County, which is in Ohio, which is part of the United States. And as far as the 2020 census, the population of Maple Heights was 23,701. Labor Day, September 4th, 2023, in Maple Heights. This was a day that will forever live in infamy. There was a shooting that occurred during the Labor Day party that was going on at Stafford Park in Maple Heights, Ohio. For those who are familiar with that area, you guys know, Stafford is where everybody goes to kick it, things like that. They have functions. Yeah, that's where the shooting occurred. The suspected shooter was also the blood brother of the female victim, and he was also the killer of his sister's fiance. And the shooter also hit an innocent bystander who was 13, but the kid lived. Here's some more information on that.
Chris, it really is, like you said, a pregnant woman, her unborn child, and her husband all shot to death. And believe it or not, the police chief tells me the shooter was her own younger brother. Now, the police chief tells me this was an ongoing family feud that had been going on for a long time, and it came to a tragic end at the park this afternoon. Stafford Park in Maple Heights was packed with families and church groups Monday afternoon celebrating the holiday, when suddenly a 29-year-old man pulled out a gun and started shooting.
I just heard the gunshots and I turned around. I was cutting a watermelon. I turned around and everybody was running towards this way. And when we tried to get all the kids, I didn't panic too much, but I did panic.
Johnny Coleman was at the park with his church group.
Really, I wasn't scared, but the kids, I was more concerned about the kids. A straight bullet, they ain't got no names on them.
Maple Heights Police Chief Todd Hansen tells me the chaos started at around 3:15. He says the shooter got into a fight with his sister at the park. It escalated and he pulled out a gun. The shooter's sister and her family came to the parking lot to try to leave when the chief says that man opened fire, shooting his 30-year-old pregnant sister to death and grazing a 13-year-old. Do you have any idea what the shooter's motive was in this?
I really don't, other than the fact that we have preliminary reports that there was a long-standing feud between the shooter and these two parties that he engaged. I think the juvenile was just hit by chance. I don't think the juvenile was targeted. He just happened to be close to the female. But yeah, I think there are some family relations.
The woman's husband, a 31-year-old man, ran from the parking lot to a nearby pavilion to try to escape the shooter. But the chief tells me he was shot and killed in the bathroom. The chief says the shooter ran out of the park towards Auburn Avenue.
I saw him, he ran across the parking lot, had on a red shirt, and I saw him go through they caught him on the next street.
The chief tells me BCI is assisting them in their investigation. He also tells me that witnesses on the scene were very helpful. And that's one of the reasons why police were able to arrest the suspected shooter so quickly. Now, the woman who was killed in the shooting, as well as the shooter's names, have not been released yet, but we'll keep you updated as soon as we learn more. Reporting live in Maple Heights, Kelly Kennedy, 19 News.
Reports say that the suspected shooter, who was also the pregnant woman's brother, arrived at the park specifically to confront his family, who he'd been feuding with, and immediately tried to physically fight them. The victims tried to leave the premises and got in their car, police said. That's when the suspect pulled out a handgun and shot the woman and the 13-year-old, who was believed to be a bystander. The man, who was also the victim's fiance, he actually fled the vehicle and ran into a bathroom at Stafford Park. The alleged shooter chased him down and shot him multiple times in the bathroom, killing him, leaving him there. And then the shooter was apprehended at the scene. This is just one of the numerous stories of this infamous suburban area known as Maple Heights. There are numerous stories. It doesn't matter where you stay at. It's steppers everywhere. Over the years, Maple has started to garner a reputation for a place where you have to look over your shoulder, even though it's a suburban area. The crime rate is steadily increasing. The murder rate is going up. Robberies, drug trafficking, extortion, all of those things are of real existence within this area, suburbs or not. You get your nose white fucking around out there. You better stay with something too. You better keep something chunky on you if you value your life.
Heights, where police are investigating after a woman was fatally shot outside a bar early this morning. When officers arrived at the intersection of Libby Road and Payne Avenue, a woman was lying in the road, 37-year-old Cherie Kirby. Witnesses said there was an incident in a nearby parking lot. A small white Kia or Hyundai SUV was seen leaving the scene. Kirby was taken to the hospital where she died.
This is just another example of the shootings and just recklessness that occurs in this suburban area known as Maple Heights. Shit does not change, man. Like I said, it's steppers everywhere. You got real niggas and bitch niggas that exist everywhere. In every city is real and bitch niggas. In every state is real and bitch niggas. In every country is real and bitch niggas. On every continent on this planet, guess what? It's real and bitch niggas. The area doesn't matter. People like to try to, categorize shit to try to downplay things or to make it seem like they have a certain advantage. Like, niggas be like, okay, well, this person lives in the suburbs and this dude live in the hood. The dude from the hood to beat his ass because he from the hood. Like, what? Nigga, are you fucking retarded? That shit doesn't mean anything. But anyway, this shit is crazy, man. Like, the violence is reckless in this region. Selling drugs is another big thing, especially from the suburban areas.
More than $100,000, roughly 40 pounds of fentanyl pills Fentanyl blocks, meth, cocaine, and 4 guns, all confiscated from a house in this Maple Heights neighborhood.
The amount of people that could kill is staggering.
The Southeast Area Law Enforcement Narcotics Task Force was called in after the U.S. Marshals Northern Ohio Violent Fugitive Task Force went to the Maple Heights house searching for a fugitive.
When they were at the house looking for him, they noticed open view, plain view, narcotics.
The house where the drugs, money, and guns were confiscated from is just a stone's throw away from a library, a church, and a playground. A library where families, kids, and Letitia Robinson visit.
That is very disturbing. I think that it kind of, you have a lot of kids in the area, high school kids, and with access to stuff like that, it will hurt the community more than anything.
A neighborhood where families live and children play.
Residential neighborhood full of children, full of normal families, and he's operating with this just in the house.
Along with the drugs, cash, and guns found,
You can see how big of a bag this is.
police also seized the equipment and ingredients to make the potentially deadly fentanyl pills.
They're all pure fentanyl and they're just pressed.
Bedford Police Deputy Chief Rick Sutz told me he believes they saved lives with this seizure.
Just the amount of pills alone. And then you got a violent fugitive running around with 4 guns that we were able to seize that they're not going to be used to commit crimes.
In Maple Heights,
These guys are probably not going to be getting out of prison anytime soon.
Tracy Carlos, News 5.
You see, in Cleveland, niggas in the hood, they like to have the connects that's like out in the suburbs and shit. The white boys, that's the plug, or the spoiled ass black dude that got all this money. He don't need to sell drugs. He just do it to look cool. He want to be a plug. So yeah, you know, they come out to the burbs and they do shit out there. Try to get they shit going, you know what I'm saying? Get their connects. They even lick niggas out there because they think it's sweet because niggas is in the suburbs. Like, it's just the law of the land. That's the way it goes. But selling drugs and shit, man, that shit is not out of the norm. Especially to see people get raided and busted all up and down Maple, Bedford, Solon. Like, that shit doesn't matter, bro. For those who are unaware, Cleveland definitely has a gang presence. It goes all the way back to the 30s. We got a mafia presence from out there, you know what I'm saying? Shit goes down. It's been the mob in the early 90s. The GDs, the BDs from Chicago came over to Cleveland. They started knocking niggas out on they blocks, and the GDs and BDs started taking over certain areas in the 90s in Cleveland, like making them GD and BD blocks. And that's the reason why there's the GD and the BD presence in Cleveland. It's not because of no dirt or no shit like that. Like, Cleveland been on that shit too since the 90s, way before a drill era, a drill scene, all of that shit. This is just real life shit. Y'all gotta do y'all due diligence. You know what I'm saying? Look some shit up, do some research, and you will see. But yeah, man, Cleveland is a stepper city. It's cutthroat.
Bullets flying on Longbell Road near Lee Road South in Maple Heights. One of them striking a little girl inside her apartment, just 14 years old.
It sounds like she was shot through the window inside the apartment complex.
We heard people screaming upstairs.
This neighbor doesn't want to be identified, but he's a victim too. He lives in the same building in a different apartment.
We heard the bullets first. I was sitting on the floor. We heard them first. They missed the window like once. I jumped over the girl who was doing my hair jumped over the couch first, and then I jumped over the couch. Then that's when the bullets kept coming through the window. We started scooting back away from the window, and the glass kept breaking.
It all went down on Wednesday. 2 men were outside standing near a dark-colored SUV. Suddenly, a red SUV drove past them. Police say those same 2 men started shooting at the red SUV. As it drove away, they kept firing, a stray bullet hitting the little girl.
Confirm they have a female shot in the shoulder.
The suspects hop into their car and take off.
We'll check the area for the suspect vehicle.
The owner of the red SUV then called police themselves to report what just happened.
Thought it was real messed up that they shot a kid. I'm in shock. I don't know. I guess I haven't processed it yet.
An unfortunate situation, but at least this time, everyone survived. In Maple Heights, I'm Winnie Dortch, 19 News.
And it's crazy because I literally used to live down the street from them apartments. Right across the street is the Sunoco gas station where somebody else got killed. They got shot in their head in broad daylight right across the street at the Suburban gas station at the Sunoco. I used to live right down the street. That whole Lee South, that whole Turney Road shit. Like, niggas know, man. You know what I'm saying? But it's just crazy. So y'all gotta stay safe, bro. Like, stay strapped up. Don't tote no gun to look cute or look cool. Do that shit because these niggas will blow you down. Pause. They will wipe that nose, whether you got something to do with it or you don't. Y'all niggas need to stay strapped for your own protection. And that's on everything.
The shooting happened just after midnight in Maple Heights. News 5's Jordan Vandenberg went there today to learn about the investigation and the calls to end the violence.
They are things that happen with unfortunate frequency. And yet for people like Tim Dawson,
so all this needs to stop.
Just one time is one time too many.
And it needs to stop. And for kids to get shot, it don't make no sense in this neighborhood. That's simple.
The shooting literally hits too close to home for Dawson.
I heard gunshots.
Just after midnight near the gas station by his house, someone began firing into a car with a young boy seated in the back seat. One of them hit the boy in the lower back.
Right near the curb, we found some disturbed grass and there was a bullet recovered from the ground.
In the rain and darkness, officers canvassed an area more than a mile away,
Libby and Thomas,
where they found multiple shell casings.
All right, I got 3, 4 as in the tire. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and then 4th in the tire.
Although detectives found a shell casings about a mile and a half away from here, officials say the incident actually started right here on Granger near the gas station. As far as the investigation is concerned, detectives are still trying to figure out if it was the result of road rage or bad blood. Police say detectives can hopefully utilize the network of license plate readers in Maple Heights to aid in the investigation.
For a child to get shot, an innocent child, for no reason, it don't make no sense. They need to be caught, and they need to turn themselves in.
For Dawson, a child shot is a child too many, and he's past the point of being angry.
I'm furious, because it shouldn't have happened.
In Maple Heights, Jordan Vandenberg, News 5.
I want to take this moment to say, rest in peace to all of the victims, not just in Maple, not just in Cleveland, not just in Ohio, but worldwide, to everyone that's been a victim of gun violence. And I want to specifically just take a moment out to say rest in peace to the 2 victims during this horrible Labor Day massacre. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Got more coming on this Drillers and Trappers channel. I'd like to just say thank you for the support. Make sure y'all hit that like, that subscribe, share. Got more content coming in the future. Until next time, stay safe.